Hails and horns, everybody, and finally, welcome back to the Abyss. I'm Matt Segala. Got a nice little album review for you today on an album I just picked up a couple days ago, and that is the new album from Luciferian Insectus entitled Reborn Through Brimstone. So let's dive in and take a look at this thing. All right, again, that is Reborn Through Brimstone by Luciferian Insectus. Just a phenomenal band. Very occulty, black and death metal band with some like hints of minor orchestral, chambery, synthy, melodic elements here and there as well. But just out, just fucking brutal ass, just occultic, black and death metal in my opinion. Really solid stuff. Quick look at the artwork here. The inside is really sweet. I love the design on the disc is pretty tight, and I love that old school logo with the LI. Freaking awesome. Give you a little bit better look at the artwork now. That is just really freaking killer artwork, man. Hats off to Luciferian Insectus. I don't know if this is what they were going for, but it looks like these bodies are just kind of rotting and becoming the ground around it and building everything up. So really cool. You gotta like that, like necrotic, earthy temple looking thing in the very back. Looks really cool. But let's really dive in and start talking about the music. Usually I rate things, based off art, drums, guitar, bass, vocals, all that kind of stuff. And we do a rating at the end. We're gonna do the same thing, but since we already looked at the artwork, man, it's pretty sick. It looks like something you'd see on like a slamming brutal death metal record with that badass Luciferian Insectus logo. Out of 5, I'd have to give this artwork probably 4.5 stars out of 5. Really sick shit. But let's dive in and talk about the music. All right, so now we talked about the artwork a little bit. Let's dive in and start breaking down the music. First, I want to go over the drums. And I thought the drums were performed flawlessly on this record. They give a really good solid foundation that everything else just kind of feeds off of. The fast blast parts are just intense as shit. They're brutal. You can kind of feel them like in your bones. But aside from that, I think my favorite parts of the drums were actually during the slow, haunting, chilly intros that some of these tracks have. Just the just raised the level, in my opinion, on this album, and the seamless transitions and fills that lead into going from those slow haunting parts to those all-out brutality, verses and choruses, was just done perfectly, in my opinion. Not overproduced like a lot of newer bands are doing, but just that right amount of old school, raw, early black metal grit to it, just to really make it, aggressive and right up my alley. So yeah, drums, I would have to say, done near flawlessly. They definitely add to the atmosphere of this record, which is something I don't say a whole lot. Usually drums are just kind of, it's just the bass. It keeps you in time, but they really added to the atmosphere, I thought, with the grit and, the seamless transition. So drums, 4 out of 5. So, so far this record, it's freaking killer, man. Just definitely do yourself a favor and check it out. I do have Luciferian Insectus' Facebook page linked in the description below, as well as credits and everything. I will play a couple small clips for you, and of course you saw some of the artwork, so you'll know where to go and who to thank for this awesome material. Definitely go check it out. If you like it, pick it up for yourselves, but let's keep on rolling here and talk about those fucking killer guitars. Alright, so we looked at the artwork, we kind of briefly talked about the drums. Now let's dive into these badass guitars on this record. Really good range, from really good, clean, kind of echoey, really chilling, almost melancholy, sounds on some of the intros, especially on my favorite track, which I believe was track 3. Yeah. The Fall of a Holy Flower. Holy shit. The intro to this just very somber, but almost uplifting at the same time. There's hope, and then all of a sudden you just get the raddest song on this record, in my opinion. But anyway, that's a little off track. But yeah, like I said, good range from really good, almost melodic, echoey, a little bit of reverb style cleans that really kind of roll into this fizzy, almost fuzz-like, over as opposed to a straight-up distortion. For some of the tremolo parts, some of the the open chord picking, stuff like that, which I absolutely love. I love fuzz on black metal, black and death metal, all that kind of stuff. And if you mix it properly with the right amount of high gain, it sounds awesome. It's just very dissonant. It's It's got that fizz, that harsh, raw sound to it without just being so much gain that you can't hear anything. It's just a wall of static. So yeah, extremely good tones. I love, again, like the fizziness on, some of the leads and the melodies and the fast tremolo runs. But then when you get into the rhythms, you got that right amount of crunch, man. It just all ties together perfectly and just adds layer after layer with the cleans and the tremolos and the dissonance and just the punchy riffs. All just adds so much to this album. Again, being a guitar player, I really, really enjoyed hearing the riffs and the transitions from clean to this haunting emotion to this visceral, just black metal, all-out black metal sound, then rolling into more of a deathy sound, and then, right back into like this melodic, slightly orchestral sound. Man, this thing is just put together so well. My hat's off to Luciferian Insectus on this one. Just killer job. Guitars, top-notch. Another 4 out of 5. But let's pull back a little bit and talk about these vocals for a minute. All right, so let's talk about the vocals a little bit. Again, similar to the way I enjoyed the guitars and the drums, the artwork, the ambience, everything on this record. I also really enjoyed the vocals, and the vocal style felt a little bit differently from, I have another Luciferian Insectus album here that I picked up a year or two ago. I can't remember what year this one came out. Those felt a little bit more guttural, style, to where Reborn Through Brimstone, still very, very visceral, raw. I mean, much more raw feeling vocally than the previous one, but not as guttural. It's not Cookie Monster, burping into a cardboard box where you can't understand it. There's clarity in the gutturalness, if that makes sense. It's very deep, aggressive. I mean, it sounds like he's really pushing his vocals hard to really get that sound out the way he wanted to. And bravo, I think you nailed it. And also, I mean, a little bit of range. He rolls from that, death metal-y, death metal vocals with some clarity to where you can hear every word. You can feel the emotion like ripping through how hard he's pushing his vocals. And then, tracks like I talked about earlier, The Fall of the Holy Flower, track 3, definitely my favorite by far. Out of nowhere, it's just like this higher pitch, compressed, like almost choking. It's shrieky. Really, really good straight up old school black metal vocals out of nowhere, and just completely blew me away with the vocals on track 3. And then seamlessly you can transition right back to that Black and Death, clear guttural sound. So man, again, just like the guitars, lots of range. I really felt, the brutality of this record came through more in the vocals, I think, than anything else. And you really kind of feel maybe what the composer wanted you to feel. You definitely got the message through the raw aggression in the vocals. They're very visceral, primal, primitive almost in a way. But yeah, really solid vocals, man. I'm gonna have to give it another 4 out of 5. So yeah, I don't really rate albums that high that often. I know I've had a couple, in that 3.5, 4.5 range. But yeah, this one's definitely up there. The 2020 release, and we got a contender for at least my personal album of the year list already, right out of the way, early off the bat. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for the vocals. You can't really beat that, man. Now what I want to kind of do is kind of give you a couple little snippets here and there of what I'm talking about when I talk about this album. So first, I want to kind of let you hear that transition, like what those kind of clean guitars sound like, that haunting, like melancholy melody. And then just all of a sudden, you're in just black metal hell, and then you're nice little blackened groove. So I'm going to give you a couple little snippets of, just little samples. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but just enough to kind of hear, all right, that's interesting. And then boom, wow, that's pretty cool. Boom, holy shit. Just a little taste so you can kind of see if it's maybe up your alley. But I definitely recommend you check it out. And thank you so much to Luciferian Insectus for allowing me to use these samples. But yeah, let's check a couple of this out. We'll start with that haunting, clean guitar, roll into some of that black, dissonant, shrilly vocal, and then kind of roll back into some really good riffy black and death metal. And then we'll be back to kind of wrap this thing up. right, guys, so there was just a couple quick samples of, you know, a few different phases of what you get with this record. Again, overall, I thought it was really, really good. It's just phenomenal. Everything about it. I really, really enjoyed it. It's fresh. It's a little different. It's not the same old cookie cutter Black in Death that you get these days. Just very chilling, powerful, visceral fucking shit, man. Really, really good. Again, last time, this is Luciferian Insectus 2020 full-length album, Reborn Through Brimstone. Definitely, please go check this out for yourself, and if you're into it, maybe consider picking up a copy and supporting, you know, support that underground. But yeah, so, you know, talking about overall ratings, I'm pretty strict with my ratings. So, you know, a 3 to me, a 3 out of 5 is a very good album. It's like, it's better than average. To me, 1 is garbage. You get to the 2s, you're getting to just your average. You know, 3, very, very good. 4 is very, very, very good. 5 being a perfect album, which that's maybe never happened. You know what I mean? But I put this at a solid 4 to 4.5 out of 5. It was that good. It's definitely going to find a way into my end of year list. I know we have a long way to go, but that good. I know not everybody would agree with me. I'm sure everybody's tastes are different, but Luciferian Insectus is one of those bands. I mean, even the previous release, completely different sound in my opinion. This had that chambery, synthy, you know, a little bit more aggressive, heavy, to where this was a little more raw, I would say. The vocals were a little more raw in my opinion, but this I felt more emotion and more power coming from this album than I did from the previous one. Both phenomenal records. Definitely go check out Luciferian Insectus. Go down, check everything out in the description. See for yourself. I hope you enjoyed this review and you maybe found somebody new, or maybe this was a video of somebody that you know, somebody you like Luciferian Insectus, and you can help spread the word. Awesome, awesome dude, awesome band. And thank you so much again for allowing me to throw up some album art and clips on the video for some people to check out and get a better look and listen at what they're in store for. I'm going to go ahead and cut this video here. Again, amazing album, and also a little message from Luciferian Insectus. So I'm going to put that on screen right now. Hails and horns. We'll see you soon.